Hey there. Hope you're having a great day. I'm Jim Munchback, and this is the final Capstone review for fall 2025. So, if you're a student in my personal finance course at the University of Houston at the Bauer College of Business, this is something you may have been waiting for. Apologize for the delays. Let's get started. I'm going to make it as quick as possible, painless as possible. So, what we've done is we've requested all the students in this cohort been given an opportunity to submit their questions for the capstone review. So the capstone review is the capstone assignment rather is let me get it up here on my iPad and I will show you. This is pretty much the capstone assignment as it is posted in Canvas. So this is the instructions you will get when you get ready to jump in and work on your capstone assignment, which I believe is due not next, maybe next week, either next week or the week after, but check Canvas. It'll tell you the due date. It's not due yet, but this is Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving. So probably a pretty slow week for you at school. It is for me. I've been working on rearranging my workspace in my my studio. I need a new camera up there. I swapped it out. Terrible camera, but this is kind of in the works. My workstation is in the works, and I am getting ready to transition to the next phase of operation. So this will be my last, very last uh, video for the University of Houston officially until I start my sabbatical for the year 2026, which is coming up right around the corner. And so this is the capstone review. Let's get through. Now, only several students, by the way, sent in their requests for the tutorial, but there were some very specific things that I asked you for in order for me to do your tutorial. So what it was, basically, I asked you to send me a list of your questions, show me your financial plan with screenshots, show me what you were working on, what you were questioning, and I asked you to tell me specifically what you were hoping for me to clarify for you. In addition to that, you were requested in the email to send me very clear uh, comment saying that it was okay to use your financial plan, which is what I'm going to do in a minute here, to to answer your questions and also help the cohort. So that was the deal. And we had only two students that really qualified for that. And I'm going to touch base on their plan today. And hopefully, I think that will help you. I'm sure it will. If you're sitting there wondering, okay, where's the tutorial and when do I get to see it and how is it going to help me with my capstone assignment? Well, that's the purpose of this tutorial today, this review, is to help you. And your situation, hopefully, will be very different than the students who sent in the request. So you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. But at any rate, when you go to Canvas, these are what you're going to pay attention to. I'm going to go over a couple of the items that we're going to focus on. First thing I'd say is debt and debt strategy. That was a big one. We want to focus on that. I'll show you that here in a minute. Asset allocation was one of your recent assignments, and that's certainly one we want to look at. Tax allocation. These are, by the way, these are the elements that when I review to grade your capstone assignment, these are the things I jump right into. So I'm highlighting the things that when I grade your capstone assignment, these are the things I look at right away. So one of the things we're going to look at is your retirement analysis. This is your probability of success. So if you have a zero, that's a problem. If you have 100% probability of success and over $5 million in assets at the end of your plan, in that case, you need to give a comment. You need to tell me why so much. Anything over $5 million will require you to take a closer look at your financial plan. $5 million is not an outrageous amount of money to have left over at the end of your plan. It's a reasonable amount actually. But anything over that, I ask you to give me some comments. If your ending value is $2 million, then I'm not asking you to tell me much about that because that's pretty close. That's in a range that's very reasonable. So we'll talk about that for a minute. Uh, so now I'm just showing you what's in the assignment. In a minute, I'm going to jump right into RightCapital, where I will be playing with a couple of plans. You will want to do the same with your plan. So again, this is the retirement analysis. Hopefully you know about the action items right there. That's what we're going to jump in and look at. Let's see what else. Cash flows. I'll show you kind of how to look at your cash flows. Hopefully you've done that. That's where you would go if you wanted to dive deeper into your financial plan to see what's going on and what's causing these numbers to be what these numbers are. Okay, so that's a good place for you to get comfortable. I'll show you how to do that. Hopefully you already know. Scrolling right down the page, that's pretty much it. We're going to jump into a RightCapital plan now and see. So this is Lath, and Lath is the kind student who gave us her. I think Lath is a she. Hopefully, I don't know. If not, I'm sorry. Lath. I don't know Lath. We've not met, but you did give me a pretty good summary of your plan. So this is your plan. I'm just going to jump in. Now, I wanted to, first thing I would do when I go to your plan is I look at your profile and I notice that you have a card for 18,000. That's doesn't say what it is. I go to bank. You've got $150,000 cash in the bank. That's a lot. I'm not sure why that's there, but that's interesting. We've got loan here. The loan looks like you've got a mortgage loan of 150,000 and a car loan for 51,000. So that's all good. And I can jump in and see that there's some things missing here, like you don't have an interest rate. That's not good. You would get deductions for that. So make sure you include all of the details in these data cards because that's what drives that's what drives the rest of your plan. So that's something I would suggest uh, you look at. Again, here you're missing oh no, there is an interest rate there. Maybe it was here too, and I just didn't see it. Yeah, there was. Sorry about that. You have an interest rate. That's great. Okay, good. So that shows the loans. I'm not sure where this cash is coming from or why it's in cash in the bank. What I would look at next in your situation is your investments. And you have a 401k of 157,000. Let me talk about that for just a minute. That's good, by the way, because remember in this course, this semester, what we asked you to do was pretend that you're 10 years older and that you've already nailed that dream job, the job that you hope to get when you retire. So if you're 10 years older and you have that job, you were asked to assume that you were actually earning the amount of money that you would earn if you had that job. In which case, then you would pretend and make the assumption that you've been contributing to your 401k for 10 years with whatever asset allocation, which we'll talk about in a minute, you've applied to your plan. But when you do that, when you assume that you're going to be contributing to your 401k for 10 years, the account value in that 401k is going to be more than 1 year's worth of contributions. So I didn't ask, I didn't care how you got to that. I just wanted to see that you did what Lath did here, which was kind of assume that you were contributing for 10 years to your 401k. So that's good. Um, we've got some other things here that I'm not so sure about. We've got a big brown bucket. Well, the big brown bucket was the 401k, so that looks like a little confusion there. If you're putting the big brown bucket in, that's okay. But what you were asked to do. Whoops. Hope I'm not messing up your plan. So your 401k is the big brown bucket. And then you could have a Roth IRA. We have a Roth IRA for 50 and the big brown bucket for 50 and the big blue plastic bucket, which was to represent your taxable account. So that all looks pretty good. We've got the property here. You've got your home listed. That's good. You've got all of the data in that field. Annual insurance 1700. If that house is in Texas, that's not near enough insurance. I don't know where it is. I'm not going to jump in and look, but one of the things I ask you guys to do is just kind of pay attention to what's real. If you don't know, you need to do a little research. If you don't know what a $150,000, $160,000 house insurance would be, you want to do a little research on that. And I don't know. I'm in Galveston County, so I know what it costs here. And I used to be a State Farm agent, so I'm pretty familiar with the premiums in Texas. If this is somewhere else, then obviously that would be, it should be lower. So that's what I would look at when I go to your net worth. Also, I would look at your family. See, so Lath is one person, and that's cool. So now let's look at retirement. This is just kind of how I would review your plan. This is just bizarre to me. We've got zero probability of success, yet we have $18 million at the end of the plan. Something obviously is very uh, wrong, not right, unusual in this plan. So now I would look around to see, okay, what's going on in this plan? So we looked at net worth. Let's look at goals. Whoa, here probably will be an answer to some of our questions. Now, I'm looking at a lot of goals here, and frankly, during the course in the semester, as I led you through the process of building your financial plan, there were a couple of goals I wanted you to focus on. One was retirement. I wanted you to think about the different costs of retiring early versus later and how that affects your outcomes. But what we see here is a lot of creativity, which is fine, but it's going to make your capstone assignment very uh, out of whack, which means you're going to get some pretty big deductions if you don't fix it. So, if you're a student watching this tutorial review thinking, oh, how can I make sure I don't get deductions on my capstone assignment? You might want to take a look at your goals. Because if you added goals on your own outside of the scope of the course, you will have produced some different outcomes in terms of your plan, in terms of your retirement analysis and the cash flows. And so, these goals that I'm looking at, for example, a car, an annual cost to buy a car of $250,000. Think about that. I'm not going to say a whole lot, just that if this were my plan, I would probably hit that little delete button and just get rid of that because A, that's a lot of money to spend on a car, and it's just totally screwing up your financial plan, obviously. The other one is Lace cash reserve. You want to have $2 million in cash uh, by 2025. Yeah, that's going to definitely whack out your financial plan. So I'd get rid of that. These goals are actually, got to understand when you add a goal to your financial plan, you're saying in mathematical terms, here's what I want my financial plan to calculate. Here's what I want my financial plan to spit back to me in terms of what it's going to look like down the road, today, tomorrow, next month, next year. So these goals are another one. And if this one I see regularly, you want to relocate your home. So purchase price $1 million. Do you have any idea what that does to your financial plan? Usually I would spend some time and go through this and show you exactly how that would affect your financial plan. But that would be in a plan where there was really only one anomaly, one weird thing going on. In this case, we have a whole lot of things. So I would just suggest if you're working on your capstone assignment, take a look at your goals and just delete any goals that you maybe wanted to do a little show and tell with yourself on. But for the purpose of the capstone assignment, I'm asking that you understand the basics of your financial plan, the inputs and the outputs. And if you added extra goals, you will have created uh, a whole new set of issues with your financial plan. And that's fine. This is yours to play with after the semester. But before you do your capstone assignment, I would suggest maybe you stick with the scope that we covered in class, get those things down. And then after you finish your capstone assignment, you can do whatever you want and have whatever experiments you want in your financial plan. So that was goals. Let's take a look at income. So we've got income looks fine, expenses, monthly expense, credit card. So you've when you do this, when you add expenses in the expense department, that's like duplicating them in addition to like when you have a credit card and you put in a payment, that payment is already being calculated. So in this case, this credit card payment is a duplicate. Entertainment on weekends, 500 bucks. I guess that's a monthly expense of $30 for other expenses, and then food $500. So um, that's fine, but remember when you did your expenses, you had pre-retirement expenses, and let's see. Uh, yeah, you don't need to be adding all of these extra expenses. I mean, if you actually have an extra expense, that's fine. But think about what's already included uh, in your like your credit card. So I'll come back to expenses, but I'm not going to use this plan. This plan has just got so many extra things added to it that it's the reason, Lath, that your capstone assignment's just going to be an utter disaster unless you fix these things. So I would fix these things. So that's expenses. We hit savings. Let's go back to retirement and just look. I want to make sure you see this again. You've got an ending value of $18 million. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And then let's look at these action plans. So I don't know I'm not sure what you've done as far as your uh, investments. Let's just take a look. Looks like you're moderately invested. So you could play with that and it would make a change to your financial plan. So I'm going to leave it there for you, Lath, and just say the best thing you could do is delete all of the extra things, pay attention to the important things that we covered. It looks like I think you have correctly done your tax allocation. Let's see, investment, tax. And by the way, if you don't see what I'm doing, if this is helpful, we have the upper navigation and the lower navigation in RightCapital. And so I clicked on investment and then I clicked on tax allocation. And so what I'm looking for when I review your capstone assignment is that lesson, excuse me, that lesson required you to make sure that you had uh, tax deductible bucket, which is your 401k or tax deductible IRA. And then you had a tax free bucket, and it was supposed to be at least 50,000 in each. And that was kind of a trick question because in your 401k it should be a lot more than 50,000 unless you just have a job like maybe you're a teacher or a social worker or a basket weaver where you just don't get paid a whole lot, and so you have a very small contribution to your 401k. In that case, $50,000 might be fine. But if you're in the business college and you have a business degree and you get a job in the business world making decent money, over 10 years you should have more than 50 grand in your Roth in your 401k. So that's what you have here, Lath. That's great. You did great. And it's great to have more in your taxable, the big blue bucket. That's all good. So your tax allocation is good. You'd get no deductions for that. And that's what we want. So those are the things I'm looking for. Uh, Again, back to your basic plan. If you get rid of those goals, you'll start to see a plan that makes a lot more sense. And from there, you should be able to take these instructions and nail your capstone assignment. I hope that helps. So now I'm going to jump over here and not show you. I'm going to go find another student, a student who wanted to have the review, and I don't want you to see everyone else in my planning universe. So here we go. I am now opening another plan, and I am going to just show you there's a net worth of negative $16,000. So this is another plan that is just a little unusual, and I really appreciate both of these students who gave me permission to use their plan to help the cohort. I hope you appreciate it as well. Only two students, only two students out of 52 students took advantage of the opportunity to request a tutorial with the proper request. I got a lot of emails like last minute, hey, I'm working on my capstone. Can you help me? And that wasn't the deal I made you. The deal I made you was, if you want some help on your capstone, here's the process for the tutorial. And so only two students followed those instructions and requested the tutorial. So we have two students. Now, here I noticed you have a family, and that's awesome. Families are awesome. It does definitely change the scope of your financial plan and regard with regard to the capstone. So I don't know who this 23-year-old co-client is. Expected child, expected child. I would probably suggest, for the purpose of the capstone, that you just clean this up and make it bare bones and get through the capstone. Because if you turn in your capstone with what I see in your financial plan, you will have a lot of deductions. So let's start just by going where I would go, the retirement, and just see what do we have here. We have zero probability of success and zero money at the end of the plan. So one thing we could do is look at cash flows. You notice I just clicked on cash flows, and there's a summary, and there's accounts, and there's the account summary. So we see taxable, you have no money in your taxable account. So you're not saving anything in a taxable, that big blue bucket. You have only 37,000 starting out right now in your 401k. Excuse me, your Roth IRA has 500 bucks in it. So you have a total of 37,000. That's not great. So let's go over here to profile. Let's just look at investments. Yeah, it shows you have 35 grand. So you should have in this joint investment account, we have joint investment account 401k. That's weird. That joint investment account, you set that up manually. So let me just give you a clue here. 401k is never a joint account, it's an individual. So you probably want to just start over and follow the instructions, go back to that assignment, tax allocation, and make sure that you have a 401k set up and that you're funding that 401k, and make sure you have the actual account, this is where you would do it. You would add an account, investment, and you would make that instead of a taxable account, you would click on 401k, but it would be your name, and then you would go ahead and put, I'm going to delete that, but you would go ahead and add that account and add the amount that is in that account. And again, remember, you're pretending that you're 10 years older and that you've been working for 10 years. Therefore, you've been contributing to your 401k for 10 years. So how much money would you have in your 401k? That starts by knowing, how much are you making? How much is the company match? How much are you contributing? How much are they contributing? And then you come up with an amount that you get to have in your 401k account the first year. And then you go 10 years out. So you multiply it by 10. And then you take a look at your asset allocation. And if you've been investing with a good range of asset allocation, then you would have had some really good returns over the last 10 years. And so that's part of what I wanted you to learn. In this case, you've not demonstrated that you're getting that, and your capstone assignment will show that, because you don't have the three buckets. Okay, you don't have your Roth IRA set up, you don't have your 401k set up correctly, and you don't have your taxable account set up. So I'd start there, and then I'd play around with your asset allocation, get an idea. What does it look like if you go aggressive versus conservative? And that's going to change these account values. And all of that is going to take us back to this retirement page where we get to plug in some things under action items. And this is, again, a great place for you to now you're saying that you are contributing 20% to your 401k, and whoever client the other person is, it looks like you have two people, but you didn't put a name there. So if that's true, they're also putting 20% in their 401k. So if I go back and let's go to profile, I'm going to look at income and see what kind of income we have. So it looks like we have an income of 65 and another income of 65. So two people with incomes of 65 and savings goals of 20% in each. And then Roth IRAs of $3,000 each. I don't know why you're doing $3,000 there. I would encourage you. And so it looks like you're doing a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA, and that's fine. You can do that, but you don't show those accounts. So you're telling Right Capital that you're contributing to these accounts, but you're not actually showing them in your investments. So if you go back over here to profile and we go to net worth, when we open up investments, we should see those accounts. We should see, in this case, a Roth IRA for you, a Roth IRA for the other person in your family there, or in your plan anyway. So that'd be two Roth IRAs and then two IRAs because you're funding both according to your savings schedule there. And then your taxable, just where do you save money that you have left over at the end of the month. So those are all missing. And that's making a big difference, obviously, when we go to your retirement because there's nothing showing there as far as actual savings. And remember, again and again and again, you're pretending you're 10 years older. So you have 10 years of accumulating some nest egg. That was the whole plan, the whole purpose of being 10 years older. So I'm not sure what else I could show you here. Let's go back. I want to make sure we look at, I don't know that we covered, this is a big one, the debt management. So let's first start out and just see what do you have as far as debts. So you have a credit card of $1,200. That's clearly not enough. Uh, you have loans. You have a car loan of 33,000, mortgage of 0, and a car loan of 39. So looks like you have two car loans and no mortgage. That's definitely not what your instructions were in the course. You were supposed to have mortgage based on where you live, based on your job. You found a house, you did a little research, you bought what you could afford, what you wanted in the neighborhood. You didn't do that. You need to do that. Number two was you had a car, you have a car loan, you have two of those, and then you should have a credit card, at least $10,000. And the reason for that was so that you could do this next step and have a learning experience. And the learning experience was simply to uh, be able to recognize what happens in your plan when you add one of these uh, strategies. So there are three strategies basically. Let me see if I can make that bigger yet. There you go. So we have three different strategies you can choose from. The one that you have now isn't really a strategy. It's just pay everything according to the minimum payments that you put into those debt cards. So, so if we go back and we look at your loans, you'll see the minimum payment, and that's what you're paying. That's what this is saying. You're saying to Right Capital, just use that amount, just pay whatever the minimum is. The next one is highest to lowest interest rate. So let's see what happens when we click on highest to lowest. Don't forget, we have to hit refresh. We hit refresh, we come back and we see, oh, look, you saved $2,000 and you're out of debt 38 months sooner. Now, because you only have a little bit of debt, you've got two car payments. Uh, that's not a huge savings. Do we even have the payments listed here? Yes. So you have very low interest rates. Your credit card 0%. I'm uh, not sure where you get these interest rates, but your mortgage has 000. So you need to do some work on your plan. This tutorial was not intended to help you go from 0 to 100. It was to help you figure out what you were stuck on. But where you're stuck is you need to go back and do some work on your plan. And if you're watching this tutorial review and you're in much better shape, this is where you want to go to see how does it add up. and make sure when you're going to send a screenshot with uh, you're going to send a screenshot showing before and after. So every capstone I review should have this screenshot for your benefit, so you can see, okay, that's with no strategy selected. That's the same priority for everything. And then you can pick whichever one of these you like. They're going to be pretty close usually, but the one that usually wins is highest to lowest. And you got to make sure you hit that refresh, and then you're going to get this screenshot, and you're going to grab that screenshot, and that will be part of your capstone assignment. And again, this is a total savings of $2,000, and based on these loans, that's fine. These loans are not right though, so this student needs to go back and do some work on the plan and make sure it's based on what we instructed over the course of the semester. But in your case, if you see that you have a number there that's like $127 million, well, that could be because maybe you just put in some big loans with big interest rates with very low minimum payments. And then once you popped in a strategy, then RightCapital came back and said, whoa, you're going to have a massive amount of savings, $100 million. It happens pretty regularly that I'll get a student that sends in a savings of $1 billion. So all I'm saying is if you get those kind of numbers and you don't even know that you're saving $100 million and you send it to me, you're going to get a 50-point deduction, 50 points, because you didn't figure out that you were saving $100 million. I mean, the point of this part of the capstone, the point of the credit crush assignment in general, was for you to understand the cost of credit. But if you don't pay attention to those numbers and you send me a capstone with 100 million in savings and you say, hey, I saved this much, copy paste, you're going to get 50-point deduction. Okay, I hope that's clear, because that's the most common deduction, is having huge numbers right here and not even knowing that they're huge numbers. I saved $1 billion on my credit card. Eh, okay. That's, you got to explain that and try to go back and figure it out and maybe play with your numbers and realize that you had a huge credit card with very little minimum payment. Just know what your plan has in it. Uh, and if you just do a little playing around, you'll see, if you do what I showed you by going into the cash flows, you'll see that. Again, this number right here, this one's 0. This plan is obviously really needs some work, but your plan probably has a number there, and it maybe you have 100% probability of success, but you have a number that shows how much you will have left over at the end of your plan. And if that number's over $5 million, just take a closer look and explain to me why it's so much. I'm not looking for you to be an expert in cash flows, but I am looking for you to just be aware of what is your plan representing to you. Because when you turn in your capstone, that's the first thing I look at. Is your plan in shape? Do you have a good probability of success? If not, why not? And how much do you have at the end of your plan? If it's $2, $3, $4, $5 million, great. If it's $1 billion, well, that's not great. If it's $100 million, that's not great. There you go. Something's going on there. Let's figure it out. At least be aware of it. So I hope that helps. I know that means that some of you are going to have to actually spend more than 20 minutes on this assignment. And I'm sorry for that, but that is what it is. So that's the capstone tutorial. I'm going to uh, go back here, and I think I'm just going to end it right there. It is 12:43, by the way. It is 24 November, year of our Lord 2025. And this would be me signing off for the fall semester, because I don't think we're going to have any more time together. This will be posted in your or in your playlist, which has been scrolling across the screen the whole time. I do hope you will hit the subscribe button and like the video, because what's coming next, we've got a lot coming next. As you see, my studio, my workspace, it's a wreck right now, and I'm working on a transition, and I'll be coming to you with a lot more content in the new year in 2026. During my sabbatical, I will be transitioning to focus on Bayrock and training advisors, training clients, and training young investors. So if you're a student at the University of Houston, I hope you'll click the little like button and subscribe to the channel if you're a YouTube user. It is Jim Munchback. Munchback has an H on the end. That's my channel. That's where I will be posting all of my videos, whether it's for Bayrock Financial, my company, or the next chapter of education that I'll be pursuing. I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll follow along. It doesn't cost anything to hit the little like button, leave a comment, just tell me you're watching. That will be a huge encouragement. If you've been with me this semester in personal finance at the University of Houston, I appreciate it. It's been my pleasure to be your professor of personal finance. I hope we can stay connected. And to do that, let me push this button. Let me get rid of this and push that. And yes, let's stay connected. LinkedIn is my favorite social media platform. So if you are on LinkedIn, if you're a student, I hope you are. And I hope you have a profile picture because that's helpful. I generally go look at the profile picture. Lath, I don't know that I've clicked on your profile. And if we're not connected, I hope we will be connected. And I hope this was helpful for you and also for Koa. And I appreciate again, thank you two very much for taking the time and following the instructions and giving us permission to share your plan for the rest of the cohort. You guys have some work to do on your plan. I hope you'll do it. If you need help, you two, only you two, special invitation. If you need help, feel free to text me or email me and I'll jump in and help you figure out how to fix your plan. I want you to get the full 200 points on your capstone assignment because you helped me help you help them. And I appreciate it a lot. So do the work. Reach out if you need me. If text me because I'll get your text. It's Thanksgiving. I'll be with family. I'll jump on my iPad. I'll look at your plan. I'll send you a picture. I'll help you any way I can. But you have, excuse me, you have some work to do. So you need to do the work. Thanks. What else? I wanted to say something else and I can't remember what it is. I think I'm just having that that moment of this is the end. It's not the end, it's just a new beginning, but it is time. Oh, the playlist. We will have this in the playlist. Yeah. And one more thing I think I want to share is this Apple Homeschool. This will be one of the things that I'll be doing moving forward is I'm going to be helping my two grandchildren, Caleb and Maddie, do homeschool. I don't think I have a cool screen for that, but anyway, you'll get some more of that. We got them a Mac Mini little computer. They're learning how to use notes and calendar and uh, email, not email. They're going to learn how to do a lot of things on their little Mac Mini and their iPad. I got them an iPad, just like my iPad, this little iPad right here. Actually, I didn't get them this version. This is a Pro, but they do have a pencil and they do have an iPad, and it's a great little tool. And so that's what we'll be playing with. So if you want to learn more about how to use your Apple stuff, notes in particular, notes and uh, to do reminders. We're going to be working on the basic things that we all need to know how to do when it comes to using our Apple tools. If you're an iPhone user, if you're an iPad user, if you have a Mac, you want to check it out. So, again, it's all coming to you from the same channel. It is my channel. It is YouTube at Jim Munchback. Munchback has an H on the end. So again, it doesn't cost you anything. Go ahead, hit the like button, and do leave a comment. Tell me you're watching. I appreciate it. Okay, I think I'm going to hit the end button now and finish it up. And I'll be looking for you on LinkedIn. Thanks. Have a great day. And if you, uh, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is in a couple of days, and I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and enjoy a season of giving thanks and being together and enjoying food and fellowship. We're going to have a great family time out at Lake Livingston, not Lake Livingston, Stephen F. Austin State Park. And so I'll probably take some video and